to my video on order of operations. So we use order of operations to solve expressions. So previously you had probably learned the acronym PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. But in 7th grade, we're going to change it slightly to GEMDAS, where the G is going to replace the P for parentheses. And the grouping symbols do whatever operations are inside the parentheses or brackets, fraction bar, absolute value, and square roots. So we do all those first. Those are all considered grouping symbols. Then we look for exponents from left to right if there's more than one. Then we're going to look for multiplication or division. Start at the front and multiply or divide from left to right. And then lastly, we're going to add or subtract. Start at the front and add or subtract from left to right. Watch out. We multiply or divide and add or subtract from left to right. So I'm really trying to emphasize the left to right because sometimes people think that because the M comes before D in GEMDAS that you always do multiplication before division. Absolutely not. You multiply or divide and add or subtract from left to right. Now I'm going to provide a helpful strategy for you to use for number 1 and number 2. So you can write down GEMDAS, G-E. Now notice I'm going to put the M/D to remind you to go from left to right, and A/S to remember to go from left to right. And after I do each step, I'm going to check it off. So once I find a grouping symbol, I'm going to underline that and do that first. And within the grouping symbol, I'm going to go from left to right if there's more than one step to do inside there. So my first grouping symbol I see here is square root. So I'm going to underline that step, and the square root of 144 is 12. I'm going to write a 12, and I'm going to bring down anything else that I did not evaluate. Okay, now I'm still looking for grouping symbols from left to right, and I notice one right here. I notice a parenthesis, so I'm going to underline it. And 2 plus 1 is 3. I'm going to bring down, and because I down to one number inside the parentheses, I'm going to get rid of the parentheses, and number in front of parentheses means to multiply. So I'm going to replace the parentheses with the multiplication symbol. And then I'm going to bring down the plus 2 to the 4th minus the absolute value of negative 12. And as I look through here, I see one more grouping symbol right here. The absolute value of negative 12 is 12. So I'm going to bring down the rest. 12 minus 2 times 3 plus 2 to the 4th minus 12. And I'm going to cross out G. I've done all the grouping symbols. Now I'm going to look for exponents. I see 2 to the 4th power. Remember, this means multiply a number by itself 4 times. So 2 to the 4th is 16. Now bring down everything else that we did not use here. And I'm going to cross out the E because I've done all the exponents. Now I'm looking for multiplication or division from left to right. I notice multiplication first. 2 times 3 is 6. Bring down the 12 minus 6 plus 16 minus 12. Okay, I've done all the multiplication and division. Check it off. And now I'm going to do add or subtract from left to right. So I have 12 minus 6 is 6. Bring down the plus 16 minus 12. I'm still adding or subtracting, so 6 plus 16 is 22. Bring down the minus 12. and 22 minus 12 is 10. So I check off my last step. Okay, now, number 2, I notice a fraction bar. When I see a fraction bar, I have to follow order of operations on the top and then order of operations on the bottom. So it's like 2 separate problems. And once I figure out the top, I'm going to divide it by the bottom. So I'm going to write down top, and I'm going to copy this down to plus square root of negative 24 divided by 6 times negative 4. Okay, I notice a grouping symbol, and there's more than one step to do in here. So now I got to follow order of operations inside this. So I notice I have division and multiplication, so I'm going to go from left to right. So I'm going to underline this step. Negative 24 divided by 6 is negative 4. Bring down the times negative 4. I still have the parentheses because I'm not down to one number. I'm going to do negative 4 times negative 4, which is 16. Now I'm left with 2 plus 16. So now I've done all the grouping. I don't have any exponents on the top. I don't have any more multiplication or division. And now I'm going to add or subtract. I'm going to check off that last step because I'm going to do it right now. 2 plus 16 is 18. So the top is 18. Now I'm going to write down what the bottom is. So it's just one step, 3 squared. So I have no grouping. Okay. So I'm going to check that off. I do have exponent. So 3 squared is 9. And 18 divided by 9 is 2. And I can go ahead and check off these steps because I'm all done. So 18 divided by 9 is 2. So remember, if you have a fraction bar, do what's on top first by following order of operations, then do what's on the bottom next by following order of operations, and then don't forget to divide them. That's the biggest mistake I see people doing, is forgetting to divide them. Okay, turn to page 2. Okay, we have a fraction bar here. And since this one's a little bit shorter, I'm going to do the work right here. So we have 10 plus 30 divided by 5. So we have to do order of operations on the top and then the bottom. So we have GEMDIS. So our grouping is that we're doing the top then the bottom. We don't have any exponents, so I notice multiplication or division right here. So we have 30 divided by 5. So bring down the 10, and 30 divided by 5 is 6. And 10 plus 6 is 16, so the top is 16. Okay, so we did our multiplication, and then we did our addition or subtraction. Now we've got the bottom part here, so we're going to go, we're going to check off the grouping. We don't have any grouping there. We don't have any exponents, so we're going to multiply or divide from left to right. 28 divided by 7 is 4. Bring down the times 2. We still have multiplication, so 4 times 2 is 8. And we're done with multiplication. We don't have any addition or subtraction, so we have 16 divided by 8 is 2. Okay, when simplifying the following, use an order of operations. Which operation should be performed first? Do I have any grouping symbols? No. Do I have any exponents? No. Do I have multiplication or division from left to right? So I'm going to look for the very first one. It's right here. So my first step is 4 divided by 2, which is B. Okay, look at number 5, which is the first step in evaluating 10 minus 3 times 2 plus 4 parentheses 15 minus 5. So I look for a grouping symbol, and I see a grouping symbol right here, which is parentheses, and I see 15 minus 5 in the parentheses, so that's my first step, which is choice D. So this concludes our notes on order of operations. I hope you have a great day.